You wake up to the familiar buzz of your alarm clock, a sound that has become too familiar over the years. The morning light spills through the blinds of your room, but even with the sun shining brightly, it feels as if the world is still shrouded in fog. The noise of the city outside your window is already in full swing, cars honking, people rushing to work, that you feel distant from it all. You pull yourself out of bed, but there's a heaviness in your chest that doesn't seem to go away. You've always felt this way, haven't you, chosen one? Surrounded by people, but still feeling completely alone. It's as if you've been on the outside of your own life, watching it pass you by. On the surface, your life looks fine. You have a job, you have friends, you have a roof over your head. But there's something more, isn't there? Something deeper calling you. Something you can't ignore.
You've tried to push it aside, tell yourself that everything is okay, but it's impossible to shake the feeling that you don't belong. Everyone else seems to be in sync with the world, chasing after their dreams, achieving their goals. And yet, you feel like you're stuck. You feel like you've been running in place, like the more you try to move forward, the further you fall behind. Why is it like this, chosen one? Why do you feel so different from everyone else? You've tried to fit in. You've tried to blend in with the crowd, tried to pretend that you're like everyone else. But no matter how hard you try, you can't shake the feeling that you're meant for something more, something bigger. It's not that you want to stand out, chosen one, but deep down, you know you're not meant to blend in. There's a part of you that feels restless, like you're not living the life you were called to live. You felt this for so long, but you've never been able to put it into words. It's not loneliness in the conventional sense. You have people around you, family, friends, co-workers, but it's like you're wearing a mask, pretending to fit into a life that isn't yours. You try to ignore it, tell yourself that you're just overthinking, that everyone feels this way. But the more you try to ignore it, the louder it gets. It's the voice inside of you that tells you, you were meant for more. And today, in the quiet of your room, you can't ignore it anymore. You know deep inside that you weren't born to just live a mediocre life. You were born to face something bigger, something unimaginable. It hits you all at once. The loneliness, the sense of not fitting in, wasn't a punishment. It was a sign, chosen one. A sign that you've been set apart for a reason. This feeling of isolation you've been carrying for so long wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to prepare you. You have been chosen. You've been pulled out of the crowd, away from the noise, because God has something greater planned for you. The life you've been living wasn't the life you were meant to live, and the universe has been guiding you towards this moment, towards your purpose. You weren't born to blend in, to follow the path others have set before you. No, chosen one. You were born to stand apart, to walk a path that only you can walk. The divine calling that's been stirring in your soul is real, and it's time to answer. You can feel it now, can't you? The weight of this truth. The realization that you were never meant to fit into this world. You were meant to rise above it, to face the unimaginable, and to thrive. It's hard to explain, even to yourself. The world around you is still moving at its usual pace, but you feel as if you've been stopped in time, standing at the edge of something that's calling you to step forward. The life you've been living feels like a shadow of what's to come. You're not meant to stay here, chosen one. You've been pulled away from the crowd for a reason, and it's time to discover why. The emptiness you've been feeling wasn't a curse. It was a space that God has created within you. A space for you to grow, to find your purpose, and to step into your destiny. This loneliness isn't a sign of failure. It's the beginning of something new. You've been prepared for this moment, and now it's time to walk in the truth of who you are. You were born to face the unimaginable, The journey ahead will be difficult. You will encounter challenges, doubts, and struggles that seem insurmountable. But you're not alone. God is with you, guiding you, and preparing you for everything that lies ahead. This feeling of isolation, of being set apart, is just the beginning. You are not abandoned, chosen one. You are being refined, molded, and shaped for something incredible. And now, as you take your first step forward, you realize that everything you've been through, every hardship, every moment of doubt, has led you to this point. You were born for this moment, for this purpose, and the unimaginable is waiting for you to step into it. As the days pass, you begin to notice something you've never really seen before: your own transformation. You're still going through the motions of your everyday life, but there's something different. You don't know exactly what it is yet, but it feels as though God has gently shifted the course of your life. It's like you've been standing in one place for so long, trying to figure out where to go next, and now, without you even realizing it, you've been moved. The familiar places, the routine you've held onto for so long, they don't feel the same anymore. Your daily habits feel heavier, like something is off, but you can't put a finger on it. Even your friends seem distant now. Not in a bad way, but in a way that leaves you questioning if they're meant to walk with you on the journey you're about to take. As you try to push through it, you realize something. This feeling of being out of sync, of pulling away from the familiar, it's not a mistake. You weren't abandoned. You were protected. God is guiding you towards something new, and He's been moving you into a place of solitude because it's the only way for you to truly hear His voice, to truly understand your divine purpose. The more you sit with this thought, the more you start to understand that the distance you feel from others isn't rejection, but preparation. You are being refined. God is molding you, shaping you into the person you need to be in order to face what lies ahead. The distractions of your life, your job, your social obligations, the people you've surrounded yourself with, they're fading into the background. And for the first time, you start to realize that this isn't a curse. It's a gift. You've been chosen for something greater than anything you could have imagined. And in order to walk that path, you needed to be pulled away from the noise. As you embrace this new understanding, you feel a sense of peace begin to settle in. The loneliness you felt, the isolation, it was never about being abandoned. It was about being set apart. It was about God preparing you for what comes next. And now, in this space of solitude, you begin to see the truth in a new light. You see that you're not meant to be like everyone else. You're not meant to follow the crowd. The divine calling on your life is unique to you, and that means stepping into a space where others can't follow. It's not that they don't want to, it's that they're not called to walk the same journey. And you realize that, for the first time, this is okay. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. You no longer need to fit into a mold that doesn't serve you. The people who are meant to walk with you will find their way to you. But first, you must trust God and allow this time of isolation to fully unfold. You've always known you were different, but now you understand that the reason you've been pulled away from the crowd is to allow God to work in you in ways that could never happen if you were surrounded by distractions. You've been given the gift of space, the opportunity to hear God's voice more clearly than ever before. And as you embrace this, you start to feel more connected to your true purpose. It's a journey of growth, and growth isn't always comfortable. It's painful, even. Letting go of old habits, stepping away from old relationships, shedding the layers of who you thought you were. It's a process that's as difficult as it is necessary. But with every step, you feel the weight lifting. The more you surrender to this process, the more you begin to feel like yourself again. Only better, more aligned with your purpose, more in tune with the person God has always intended you to be. As you continue this journey, you start to notice something else.
The things that used to matter, the opinions of others, the need to fit in, the constant pressure to succeed, don't have the same hold on you anymore. The more you step into the space God has created for you, the more you realize that those things were distractions. They were keeping you from your true calling, from your true self. You begin to let go of the need to please people, the need to conform. It's not that you no longer care about others. It's that you finally understand that you can't serve God's purpose for your life if you're constantly trying to serve everyone else's expectations. You're being refined. You're being prepared for something greater, and you can't keep holding on to things that are no longer meant for you. The people around you may not understand this transformation, and that's okay. You're starting to realize that the people who truly belong in your life will understand your journey. They will support your growth, even if they can't see the entire picture yet. The people who are meant to walk alongside you in this season of your life will be the ones who understand your silence, your need for space, your desire to be still. And as you lean into this new rhythm, you realize that your life is no longer your own. You've been called to something greater, and with that calling comes a responsibility. The responsibility to honor this process, the responsibility to let go of everything that holds you back from becoming the person you were always meant to be. And though it's not easy, you trust the process. You trust God's timing, knowing that this time of being set apart is not a punishment, but a preparation for what lies ahead. The world around you may be loud, but you found peace in the silence. You found clarity in the stillness. And as you continue walking this path, you know you're not alone. God is with you every step of the way, and this is only the beginning. It wasn't a grand moment or a loud voice that changed everything. It was subtle, a whisper in the stillness of your heart, one that you almost missed if you weren't paying attention. It wasn't an external voice or some grand miracle. It was the quiet certainty that settled into your soul and rattled your world. You had been feeling lost, adrift in a world that didn't quite make sense, surrounded by people who seemed to have everything figured out while you felt like you were standing still, waiting for something to click. And then it clicked. That feeling you had of being chosen, of being set apart, suddenly made sense. You had been questioning everything. Why do I feel so different? Why can't I just be happy like everyone else? But this moment of clarity changed everything. You were not just meant to survive. You were not here to live a quiet, unnoticed life. No, you were born for this moment. And more importantly, you were born to face the unimaginable. The realization hit you with the weight of truth. This was no accident. The trials, the loneliness, the endless feeling of being disconnected from the world. It was all part of your preparation. God had been pulling you away from the crowd for a reason. You were chosen, set apart, not because you were broken or unworthy, but because your purpose is something so vast, so important, that you could never fulfill it surrounded by the noise of the world. You hadn't been abandoned. You had been protected, nurtured for something bigger than you could have imagined. And as the truth settled into your soul, it wasn't just a revelation. It was an awakening. You were ready to accept what had been happening all along, to understand that every challenge, every moment of pain and confusion had been leading you here, to this pivotal point in your journey. And with that understanding came an undeniable truth. You were not meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out. You were chosen to face the unimaginable, to rise above the obstacles that most people would run from. This isn't just about surviving. It's about embracing the power within you, stepping into the person you were always meant to become. But there's a catch, isn't there? Because, as you've started to realize, this path doesn't come without its cost. the first taste of that cost begins to show itself in the most unexpected way, in the form of betrayal. The first time you truly understand the weight of this calling, you're not prepared for what comes next. The people you trusted, the people who have been by your side through thick and thin, begin to change. It's subtle at first, a comment here, a dismissive look there, but it grows, slowly, until it's undeniable. They don't understand what you're going through. They don't see the transformation happening within you, the awakening that's unfolding, and instead of supporting you, they begin to pull away. It's as if your very presence unsettles them, as if your purpose is too big for them to grasp. And that's when you feel it, the sting of betrayal. It's not that they've outright hurt you or turned against you maliciously, but the subtle shifts in their behavior make it clear. They're not ready for the person you're becoming. They can't see the change in you because they're still holding on to the version of you that used to be, the version that was stuck in the same cycle of confusion, the version that didn't yet understand their true purpose. And that's when it hurts. You've always trusted them, believed in the strength of those relationships, but now they're slipping away. And the more you try to hold on, the more it feels like you're suffocating under the weight of their rejection. You wonder if you're imagining things, if it's all just in your head. But the truth is unmistakable. The people who were once the closest to you are now becoming strangers. Their faces, once full of understanding and care, now seem distant, almost alien. You begin to feel the isolation, but this time, it's different. This time, it's not just the ordinary loneliness you've always known. This is the loneliness of someone who's stepping into something new, who's leaving behind the comfort of old friendships, old ways of thinking, and old patterns of living. And it feels like betrayal, because, for so long, these people were your anchors. But now, the person you are becoming doesn't need them to survive. You've been chosen to stand on your own, to walk a path that is uniquely yours. And that means letting go of the people who no longer serve your purpose. As you sit with this revelation, it hits you again. This isn't punishment. This is preparation. God is allowing this separation for a reason. The people who can't understand your journey can't walk with you into the next phase of your purpose. It hurts, yes, but it's necessary. And with that understanding, you begin to see the purpose behind the pain. You've been pulled away from the crowd not because you're being rejected, but because you're being made ready. God is refining you, purging the distractions, and preparing you for the unimaginable challenges that lie ahead. It's in this solitude, in this space of isolation, that you'll find the strength to move forward. You will rise above the pain, above the rejection, and you will step into your purpose. But before that can happen, you need to face the biggest challenge of all, trusting that this is all part of God's plan for you. As the days pass, you begin to accept that the betrayal you feel isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're on the right path. You're moving forward, and as you do, the people who are meant to walk with you will begin to emerge. And that's when the real work begins. Days turn into weeks, and the more you embrace this new understanding, the more your world begins to shift. It's as if you're stepping out of the shadows, but with that step, you feel the pull of the past tugging at your heels. Your journey of self-discovery isn't without its challenges. The more you grow, the more you realize how much of your old life was built on illusions, on expectations that weren't your own. You're starting to shed parts of yourself that no longer serve your higher purpose, but the process is painful. The relationships you thought were solid, the friendships you held close, they begin to feel like they're slipping away, and it hurts. Not because you want them to, but because it feels like betrayal. Like these people, who were once your support system, can't understand you anymore. They don't see the changes happening within you,
and it becomes clear that they can't walk with you on this new path. And it's not just the people around you, it's the life you've been living, the job you've been working, the things you've been chasing. All of them suddenly feel too small. You've been living a life that wasn't aligned with who you really are, and now you're beginning to feel the weight of that misalignment. The job that used to excite you no longer brings you joy. The places you used to go, the things you used to do, feel empty. It's as if you're waking up from a long slumber, realizing that everything you've been doing, everything you've been chasing, has been a distraction from the purpose that was always meant to be yours. You start to question everything. What have I been doing with my life? What's the point of all this? You begin to feel like the rug is being pulled out from under you, like the very foundation of your existence is shaking. But it's not just the fear of the unknown that makes you hesitate. It's the deep-seated guilt that starts to creep in. The guilt of leaving behind the people you've known, the guilt of pursuing something greater when those around you can't see it. You're walking away from the life you've built, from the relationships that have shaped you, and it feels like betrayal. You begin to wonder if you're being selfish, if you're abandoning people who need you, or if you're making a huge mistake by walking away from everything you've known. The pressure mounts, and it feels as if you're being tested. The more you try to move forward, the more it feels like the universe is throwing obstacles in your way, as if you're being pulled in two directions. One part of you wants to move forward, to step into the person you were always meant to be, to answer the divine calling on your life. But the other part of you is terrified of being alone, of being rejected, of leaving behind the life that, for all its flaws, is familiar. And in the middle of this internal conflict, you feel the weight of betrayal once more. The people closest to you, the ones you thought would understand, begin to question your choices. They don't understand why you're withdrawing, why you're changing. They want you to stay the same, to remain in the box they've placed you in. They don't see the new path you're walking, and the more they pressure you to return to the old ways, the more you start to feel the strain. You begin to question your own worth, wondering if you're wrong, if you're making a huge mistake by stepping away from everything. But as you stand at this crossroads, something inside you shifts again. You realize that this is part of the process. This tension, this conflict, is exactly what you need to grow. It's not a sign that you should turn back. It's a sign that you're on the right path. The pain of leaving behind what you know is the price of stepping into your true purpose. You begin to accept the reality that not everyone is meant to walk with you on this journey. Some people, no matter how close they once were, can't follow you into the next chapter of your life. And that's okay. The people who are meant to be by your side will come when the time is right. It's hard to let go, but you realize that you're not abandoning them. You're just moving forward on the path God has set for you. The more you lean into your purpose, the more you begin to see the bigger picture. The challenges, the loneliness, the betrayal, they were all necessary steps in your growth. And though you can't see it yet, you know that all of this is leading you towards something greater. You begin to realize that the people who have been walking away weren't meant to stay. God is clearing your path, removing the distractions and the ones who would hold you back, so you can fully embrace your divine purpose. It doesn't make it any easier, but you start to understand that this is part of your divine training. You've been set apart for something greater than you can comprehend. You are being prepared, refined, and shaped into the person you need to be to fulfill your calling. And even though the path ahead is still unclear, you're beginning to trust the process. You know that the road ahead will be filled with challenges, obstacles, and moments of doubt. But you also know that you are not alone. God is with you. You were chosen for this. And with every step you take, no matter how painful, you are one step closer to the unimaginable purpose you were born to fulfill. The weight of it all starts to shift, and something begins to click deep inside you. The tension, the doubt, the fear, all the things that were holding you back now feel like distant echoes. You are beginning to realize that this journey, as difficult and painful as it's been, has been leading you towards something far greater than you ever thought possible. The whispers that once felt like scattered thoughts now seem like undeniable truths, clear and loud, guiding you like a compass in the dark. You start to see the world around you with new eyes, not as a place to fit in or to be accepted, but as a stage where you are called to stand tall, to shine, to fulfill your divine purpose. God has been preparing you all along. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was far from it. The betrayals, the moments of confusion, the loneliness, they were all necessary to get you to this point. Each one of those moments was a lesson, a step forward in your growth. And now, as the pieces begin to fit together, you realize that you were never meant to live the life everyone else expected of you. You were meant to walk a different path, one that was specifically designed for you. The divine purpose you've always sensed, the one that felt too big to grasp, is beginning to unfold before your eyes. And while you still don't know exactly what it all looks like, you now have a deep certainty that you are walking the right path. You were born to face the unimaginable. The trials and obstacles you've faced, the pain and the heartache, weren't punishment. They were preparation. You've been through fire, yes, but you've come out stronger, more resilient. You are being refined, shaped into the person God always intended you to be. And now that you're starting to accept your divine purpose, the weight of betrayal doesn't sting as much anymore. It doesn't hold the same power over you. You begin to understand that the people who rejected you or abandoned you weren't meant to walk with you into the next phase of your journey. They were a part of your past, but not a part of your future.
God had to remove them, not because you're better than them, but because they couldn't go where you were going. The space left behind by their departure is now being filled with something greater: divine connection. The people who are meant to walk with you now are stepping into your life. People who understand your purpose. People who will support you and encourage you as you continue to grow and walk the path set before you. You start to realize that the pain of the past wasn't about you losing something. It was about making room for something better. You begin to see that the things you thought you wanted, the approval of others, the acceptance, the fitting in, were distractions. You don't need them anymore. The more you step into your purpose, the more you shed the things that no longer serve you. You're starting to see yourself differently, not as a person in search of meaning, but as a person who has found it. You have a divine calling, and it's time to step into it fully. You start to feel the power that's been dormant inside you. You start to recognize the strength that's always been there, waiting for you to acknowledge it. The fire within you is beginning to burn brighter, and it's no longer something to be afraid of. It's your true self, coming alive, ready to face whatever comes next. But even with this newfound strength, you know that the road ahead won't be easy. There will be more challenges, more tests of your faith and resilience. But now, you're ready. You know that no matter what comes your way, you are equipped to face it. You were born to face the unimaginable. The more you walk this path, the more you realize that it's not just about you. It's about those who will come after you. It's about the people you are meant to help, the lives you are meant to touch, the purpose you are meant to fulfill. You've been chosen not just to overcome your own struggles, but to lead others through theirs. You've been chosen to show others that no matter how dark the journey gets, there is always hope. There is always a way forward. And as you embrace this truth, the weight of your calling becomes lighter, because you know it's not about you.
It's about the people who need to hear your story, who need to see your strength, who need to feel your light. This is your purpose, to be a beacon of hope, a guide, a light in the darkness. You've been through the fire, but now you're coming out of it stronger, ready to help others do the same. And in that moment, you finally understand. The unimaginable obstacles you faced weren't meant to break you. They were meant to build you. They were meant to prepare you for this moment. You are ready. And no matter what comes next, you will face it with the strength, courage, and purpose that has been placed in you by God. This is just the beginning. The unimaginable is waiting, and you are ready to face it head on. As you stand at the edge of this new chapter, remember this: you were born to face the unimaginable, the challenges, the betrayals, the moments of feeling alone. None of them were in vain. They were all part of the process, shaping you into the person you are today. You are not here by accident. You've been chosen for this moment, and everything you've endured has prepared you for what's ahead. The journey won't always be easy, and there will be moments when doubt creeps in. But trust this: you are ready. You have the strength, the resilience, and the divine purpose within you to overcome anything that stands in your way. The unimaginable obstacles that once seemed insurmountable are now the very things that will propel you forward. God has never left your side, and He won't start now. Embrace the path that's ahead of you. Let go of the past, the pain, the rejection, and step into the person you were always meant to be. The world is waiting for the light only you can bring, and it's time to shine. If this message resonated with you, if you felt that divine shift within you, don't keep it to yourself. Share your story with others. Like, comment, and subscribe to continue walking together. You are not alone. God has chosen you, and your purpose is unfolding now. Let's take the next step forward, together. Stay aligned, stay focused, and remember, you were born for this. The unimaginable is ahead, and you are more than ready. Let's walk into it with faith, courage, and confidence.